Hey, what's up guys? The Amplified Man. Just finished recording the Raw review for May 25th, 2020. It's in audio format because I had some traveling to do this morning, but don't worry. From top to bottom, beginning to end, start to finish, it is filled with amplification. You guys are gonna like this one, man. It is straight fire throughout. Perhaps I had a couple too many of these bad boys, who knows? But, man, we fucking got amplified in this one, so you guys are in for a treat. But I wanted to start off by sending out a shout out. I woke up this morning to an awesome message from an AEW talent expressing how they thoroughly enjoyed my AEW Double or Nothing review from a couple days ago. And I gotta tell you guys, it just made my fucking day. When you have the respect and admiration of fans, followers, and subscribers, that's one thing. That's a big piece of why I do what I do on this platform. But when you have the respect and the admiration of the actual talent, that's a feeling unlike any other. Because it reinforces what you already knew, which is they're hearing my words. But when they're actually feeling them too, when they actually take the time out of their day to send you a personal message saying thank you, that was awesome, for my review, especially AEW, man, which I'm really, a lot of fans aren't even giving them a chance. I'm making sure that I'm going out of my way to do such, and I'm giving the most honest review possible because that's what I promised Cody, because that's what he asked us to do. Good, bad, positive, negative, he wants to hear it all. Those were Cody's words. And I want to make sure that I'm doing that. By the way, Cody's not the one that sent me the message. That would have been badass. This gentleman knows who he is, and I don't want to blow up his spot. That's not what this is about. I already sent him a message back. But this is just me publicly just saying, because if he is watching this video, thank you. I know I already sent you that message thanking you. And a few more words. But I want to publicly just say thank you to that individual, man. You don't have to take a minute out of your day to do such. And when talent, and this isn't the first time, you guys know that. There's been talent before that has reached out to me. And that's just so fucking awesome, man. Because again, it just, it shows that, the talent understands the frustrations. The talent knows that this dude knows what he's talking about. And you gotta think, if it's one person, there's more in that locker room that are watching your shit. There's more people in that locker room that are hopefully enjoying your shit. I just think that's awesome, man. So that really made my day. So I just want to publicly, to that person, they know who they are. Thank you. And I put my heart and soul in that AEW review. And guess what? It's fucking, it's how I truly felt. There was no, I didn't just throw a mulligan because AEW's new. So, I'm glad. I'm so happy that you enjoyed it, and thank you so much for reaching out. Fucking awesome. Now, guys, here's the WWE Monday Night Raw review for May 25th, 2020, and you better grab your beverage, sit back, kick your feet up, because this is gonna be a wild fucking ride, man. I woke up, pounded a coffee, and then recorded this in audio form, and I just went wild. I don't know. I was off my fucking rocker. You guys are probably going to enjoy it. If not, what can I tell you? Find someone else then. Let's do this. Come on! Good old BC isn't allowed to have a little fun. You see the thumbnail. I didn't stutter. That's my question. Was this the most iconic Raw ever? Of course not. Did you guys actually think BC finally lost it? Did you think the Amplified Man is missing a couple two-tree marbles upstairs? BC is giving in and joining the Positivity Express? Fuck that, brah. You want positivity, you gotta earn it. But I had to have a bit of fun. I know for a fact half of you guys don't even watch Raw anymore. You just tune in the next morning to watch BC's review. First of all, thank you, and I don't blame you. But I decided to have some fun and freak you non-watchers of the product out just a bit. One look at that thumbnail and motherfuckers be like, BC has gone nuts! Hey, can you blame me? I had to entertain myself. I can't count on this fucking show to entertain me. I watched 3 hours of this shit every Monday night for you guys. I put myself through that depression for you guys. You best believe I'm having some fun. And by the way, that's not even shade to Peyton and Billy Kay. As you guys know, I actually like the Iconics. I know, what? BC, what did you say? They're horrible, man. Oh, come on, really? Throwing shade at BC because I find the Iconics entertaining. I don't say shit when you guys drool over Drew Gulak or Austin Theory. Two dudes bland as fuck to me. But a lot of you guys are in love with these dudes. You say, BC, at least they can wrestle. Well, there's a lot of good and even great wrestlers in the world. Shit, down at the local bingo hall, there's a plethora of amazing wrestlers. But if they're bland as cheap vanilla yogurt, I'm going to be bored. But I don't fuck with you. I don't throw shade at fans that are entertained by dudes like Theory or Gulak. I'm amused at the Iconics. Leave BC alone, man. I can't help but laugh at their antics. There's a brilliance in their annoyance. I'm amused at the Iconics. Damn it, good old BC sits through 3 hours of this shit for you guys. I can't have 3 minutes to enjoy something that actually amuses me. Oh, man. Woo! It's one of those mornings, everybody. It's gonna be one of those reviews. Sit back, grab your fucking beverage of choice, and just be entertained by the Amplified Man, because it's one of those reviews where we're gonna talk about anything and everything that comes to my dome piece. We're gonna go off the rails, and know how I already know? Because we already are! Red team, go! No! Get up, get up, get up, and get amplified! I said, red team, go! Balls to the wall, pedal to the metal, rock this shit out! Oh, by the way, before we actually start this review, where are my fucking manners? Hopefully you guys had a good Memorial Day weekend. You know what I did yesterday before I took off to the Jersey Shore? I left my phone home. That's right, that little device that's in your hand 16 hours out of the day, or who knows, maybe some of you sleep with that shit. I left it home for the entire day. Right now, everyone hearing my words is having a massive panic attack. What? BC, is that even possible? You bet it is. A whole day of not straining my eyes. A whole day of no drama. A whole day of no fucks given. It was amazing! But BC, I have loved ones that depend on me, so I need to be accessible. Yep, me too. Guess what? No fucks given. Left that shit at home. For one day, I am off the radar. Sorry, loved ones. Depend on someone else for one fucking 24-hour period. But BC, I have business ventures, and I need to be accessible for my business adventures. Me too. Guess what? No fucks given. For 24 hours, I'm off the radar. It was fucking great. I bet so many people spent Memorial Day on their phones, logged into their little social media apps, trying to get likes so their self-esteem gets a temporary boost, or maybe you even found some drama for yourself. You saw something you didn't like and said, you put your fingers to the keyboard and typed, "Fuck you, I'm offended." And for the next 21 minutes of your fucking day, you went back and forth with a stranger. Fuck you. No, fuck you, dude. Let me think. Nope. Fuck you. I contemplated this for a minute, and I'm gonna stick with, no, fuck you. Okay, this is out of hand. How about you fuck off? No, you fuck off. And 20 minutes of your life you will never get back again because you played drama queen. What the fuck? Put your phones down! Damn it! You people make me fucking nauseous with frustration. What the fuck are we talking about? Oh, let's get to Monday Night Raw, right? That's why you came here. I'm talking about fucking phones and shit. What the fuck are you looking at? I'm over here trying to entertain thousands of people. I got some schmuck walking by like he's never seen a lunatic freaking out in a car before. That's right, and if you don't keep walking, I'm gonna run your ass over! Let me get a swig of coffee, and then we're gonna start Monday Night Raw's review. May 25th, 2020, and the shit rolls on. The shit hits the fan right now. This show begins with the most pointless Kevin Owens show imaginable, which was used as just another opportunity for the Golden Child to get even more airtime. Charlotte is hyping up a future match with Asuka and Asuka's title, which I told you guys it's only a matter of time. And there is a very real possibility that at some point, even if it's just to troll the fans, we could actually see Charlie 3 belts. No, not Caruso, but Miss Flair. Natty and Nia Jax come out to talk that shit too, and subsequently all 4 women throw some bows before headed to commercial. Okay? What the fuck was that for? Just to set up the triple threat for later in the night to determine the #1 contender for Asuka's title. Nia Jax versus Natty versus Charlotte Flair. Alright. We all rolled our eyes to the back of our dome piece when it was announced earlier in the week. We did the same thing when we had to set it up at the beginning of Raw last night. And you used Kevin Owens to do such, by the way? What the hell is up with Kevin Owens' book? That poor guy had to do that last night? Pointless Kevin Owens show. And a pointless segment altogether. And if that's how you're kicking off a 3-hour program and you're asking your audience to stick around and you're saying that BC complains too much, I'm asking one question. You can't do better than that? The start of the show should have you on the edge of your seat, and you can't wait to see what happens later in the show. If that did that for you, wow, wow, wow! I want your simplistic nature of being entertained. I'm not even throwing shade at you. I want what you're fucking having. What are you smoking? Because I want it. Up next, the United States. I love my transitions. I'll go from a fucking 10 to a 2 in a matter of a fucking moment, right? What are you talking about? And then, in other news. Oh, fuck. I'm feeling it today, baby. Oh, ain't nobody fucking... I can't even go into a convenience store today. Nobody's gonna be safe. You'll look at me the wrong way. I'm fucking tackling you over the fucking chip aisle. Oh, get it together, BC. Alright, so next was a United States Championship match. This was Andrade with Zelina Vega taking on Apollo Crews. We like Apollo, right? But there's no way Apollo can win a championship here. I mean, you've had this guy in obscurity for fucking 2 years now, since he's been on the main roster. So it's cute that you're giving him a title match. And by the way, we do want to see a push for Apollo, but you're not going to take Andrade's title from him. He's had a 5-month reign. Give Andrade the respect he deserves and at least have him drop it in a big situation at a big event, right? Oh, no, not this company. Andrade defending against Crews. NXT talent, by the way, I didn't even touch up on this. NXT talent was all around the fucking ringside. They're taking this, obviously, from AEW, and I have no problem with that. Hey, if something is successful, utilize it, man. Suck up your pride and just use it. You know, if you're too prideful, you see something working somewhere else, and you're like, oh, I'm not doing it. No, it works, do it. I don't like the fact that they had some fucking, like, 7 to 10 feet tall, I don't know, plexiglass, board, some shit, set up blocking the fucking people in the crowd and whoever's wrestling. I don't understand what that was for. You honestly needed that tall fucking plexi or glass, whatever the fuck it was, all around ringside? What is that really doing? Everybody else is literally right next to each other, making up the crowd, all of the NXT prospects. So what is blocking... They're 12 feet away from the fucking ring. So the people in the ring are fine from them. I don't understand why that just looked like fucking caged animals. That's what we've come to as a society. So NXT prospects are actually in the crowd to make it look like it's, there's energy now. We have a crowd. And the NXT talent was oohing and ahhing every fucking move. NXT talent oohing and ahhing every fucking moment. And the oohing and the ahhing was unwarranted, which made it the complete opposite of organic. But if you really want to talk unorganic, it's Apollo's quest to become United States champion because Cruz actually defeated Andrade and became new U.S. strap holder last night. What the fuck? I'm not even making that up. Apollo defeated Andrade and won the championship last night, guys. How do you... Don't dare try to say something stupid like, BC, isn't this what so many people wanted? A push for Cruz? Yeah, we wanted a legit push. Not a victory or two after being in complete obscurity, then just capturing the US title like he's all of a sudden a major player. You have to build him up, guys. You can't just have him in obscurity for 2 years and then all of a sudden throw a championship on him. You can't have him performing jobber status for his entire main roster run and then wave your Harry Potter wand and poof! Apollo all of a sudden now has a championship. And on the flip side, poor Andrade, this dude won the title December 26th at Madison Square Garden. And after 5 months, he loses it in the middle of a Monday Night Raw against Apollo Crews. That's how Andrade loses his 5-month title reign. And I know, someone out there is saying, BC, I like this. It shows that anyone can win the title at any time. It's a shock factor, BC. Is that what it is? Because I think it's this company not knowing what the fuck they're doing. So we're on totally separate sides of the aisle. You look at this as shock factor. I look at this as this company is fucking absolutely ass backwards. A 5-month title reign by Andrade, and he loses it. Not at the pay-per-view, not even at like the top or the main event of a show. No, he loses this in the middle because the opening segment was already played off. They had to have Charlotte Flair in the opening segment, right? They're like, oh, championship's gonna change hands, huh? Let's put it after Charlotte segment. I tell you, man, and it's not shade to Apollo. I've said from day one on this channel, Apollo has fucking talent. I do believe I felt this way from day one. When you talk about bland individuals, Apollo fits in that category. He just does. Apollo needs to really tap in to personality and charisma. He's such a good dude, and that's why we love him. But man, when he's in storylines, we don't love him that much, right? He needs to find that personality, and it's that it factor. Some people just have it, and some don't. I'm starting to question. I have questioned from day one if he even has that it factor. We know Apollo can wrestle. I, from day one, wanted to see him have a push. I didn't mean give him a championship straight out of obscurity. But that's what this company does. They go from one extreme to the next, and it's fucking mind-boggling to me. And believe you me, if you follow this channel from day one, you know I want to see Apollo get a push because I want to truly see if he can hack it on the main roster. Congrats to Apollo. But it takes more than just being a good wrestler. When you're in a level like WWE, from day one when I started watching pro wrestling, when I got into WWE, it wasn't just because they had good wrestling matches. It's because the characters jumped off the screen. There was personality, there was charisma. Austin Theory and Drew Gulak and fucking so many others. Apollo is in that league. I'm gonna need more than just a good wrestling match because, again, I could literally go to the local bingo hall and have a whole night of good wrestling. I don't need to waste 3 hours every fucking Monday night to get a good match. But I do need larger-than-life characters. Or at the very least, if you're not going to be larger-than-life, at least have a good personality and a good fucking charismatic character. Charismatic? Is that even a word? Well, it is now because the Amplified Man used it. But if it sounds like I'm not happy that Apollo won a championship in full, in total, that's not the case. It's good to see him hoist up a championship, trust me. Because I know how good of a dude Apollo is and how much he has earned. When you talk about his work ethic and the amount of work that he has put in, there's no doubt he has earned a championship run. My frustration is in the way that this was done. You have this guy in complete obscurity to the point where literally even the people that loved Apollo can't even care for him anymore. And then when he's as low as can possibly go, you have him win a championship. Nobody finds... I'm the only one that honestly thinks that way. Everyone else is okay with it. BC, it's okay, man. It's alright. They made him a bum for 2 years, but they gave him a championship last night, BC. It makes up for it. No, it doesn't make up for it. Build him up. Make people care again. And then when he wins the title, here's a crazy concept, people give a shit. And again, what it does for Andrade is it shows that you respect him as a champion. Allow Andrade the chance, the opportunity to drop that title on a bigger stage than the middle of Monday Night Raw. You know, people think, oh, you're born with logic and common sense, right? You're smart. That's a blessing. That's a good thing. No, sometimes I think it's a fucking curse. Because I feel like everybody else doesn't have logic or common sense. I feel like I'm the only one sometimes who questions bullshit. My pops used to tell me growing up, you can't fix stupid. Man, was he right. The Iconics are out next. They have words for the women's tag strap holders, Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. Iconics say Cross should just be grateful she's in that position. Of course, they're talking about being paired with Alexa, as if that's the only way Nikki could gain success. But if you see Nikki Cross and what she's capable of in NXT, you know she could have success in WWE's main roster. Again, just like 99% of that roster, they just didn't give her the time of day. So they threw her with Alexa, and the Iconics are pretty right. You know, if Nikki was getting nothing anyway, if she was just sitting at catering every fucking Monday night, or just told to stay home because she was literally not needed, then being paired up with Alexa was a blessing for her. So the Iconics, even though they're throwing a jab, they're kinda right. So they told Nikki Cross she should be lucky, grateful, I believe is the word they used, that she's even in that position. And they called Alexa Bliss. You guys ready for this? The Iconics called Alexa Bliss, and I quote, the office's favorite blonde. So for anyone that gets upset with anyone else for saying Vince McMahon favors his blondes, there you go. It's even a running joke and being used in segments within the fucking company itself. It was used in a segment itself. They literally said, and I quote, the office's favorite blonde. Just putting it out there, because I know there's people in the community when others say that, because we see what's going on, and then there's people that get offended by that. That's not the only reason. And you guys know I like Alexa Bliss, by the way. You know that. And on a pro Sasha Banks channel, you know that we love Sasha Banks on this channel. For somebody to say that they also like Alexa Bliss, I take a lot of heat for that. But I like Alexa. And to, to see how much she's been pushed, though, in title pictures throughout the last couple of years, even I can admit, as somebody who likes Alexa Bliss, that's a bit much. You know, but it's clear that there's other reasons, just... There's more than just having wrestling ability when it comes to some of these individuals. It is clear as day that Vince McMahon does favor his blondes. That's not shade to anybody, and I think people confuse that. You know, like shade is being thrown. We're picking on them. No, it's just we're seeing what is happening. Over the last several decades, we've seen it from Vince McMahon. To the point where it's even being used in a storyline. It's being used in a promo. The Office's favorite blonde. So anybody that gets upset with that, just remember, the own talent is using the same words that we're using. So if you're gonna get upset with us in the community for saying shit like that, you better look at the talent themselves. That's all I'm saying, man. That was a telling jab over to Alexa Bliss. The Iconics then take out Bliss and Cross. This obviously leads us to another Iconics versus Bliss Cross matchup, and most likely, obviously, for the titles in the future, probably next week, or Backlash is when that's going to happen. I don't fucking care. I mean, at this point, you gotta look at it this way. Whether they annoy you to the point where you just can't take it anymore, whether you just don't like them, that's cool. But the Iconics are one of the very few actual tag teams in WWE. Who else is there that's like a legit tag team that hasn't been thrusted together like Kairi and Asuka, or Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross, or whoever the fuck they throw together? Carmella and Dana Brooke. I don't even know. Is there any legit tag teams? Sasha and Bayley maybe, but there's some weird thing there where Bayley's the champion and Sasha is literally, as Charlotte Flair called her, the lackey. I love Sasha Banks, but I mean, that's the role she's playing. Now we're hoping that leads to a matchup between Sasha and Bayley for the championship. So we're willing to hold on to this never-ending story. At this point, Sasha will take on Bayley in the year 2037. But maybe that's like a tag team of sorts. Old school Boston Hug connection, which I hated that name. But other than the Iconics, there's not a lot of actual tag teams. So them hoisting up a fucking championship, is it any fucking worse than Alexa and Nikki having it, or Carmella and Dana Brooke having it? I mean, I'm sincerely asking. Tamina Snuka and Lacey Evans as tag team champions. Does it fucking matter at this point? The whole fucking division is thrown to the wayside. No care is being put into it. The titles have been a fucking joke. I don't mind at all if the Iconics fucking hoist the championship. People are actually bitching like that's the worst thing in the fucking world. Stop it. There's bigger issues. Hour number 2 starts with a VIP lounge with MVP and the special guest, none other than WWE Heavyweight Champion Drew McIntyre. They have some words, and Bobby Lashley heads to the ring. Before Lashley can get into the ring, McIntyre hits a Claymore on MVP, and Lashley thinks twice about getting into the ring. Smart man, because McIntyre is on fire since he's won that championship. And McIntyre continues to look and be booked strong. I'm loving this booking for McIntyre. Now, yes, I fully agree with you guys if you're saying you would like it to be with different opponents, maybe. And something of that nature. I can agree with you, but this is what they have right now, and WWE has nobody else to blame but themselves. So they back themselves into a corner, and now they're trying to fight out of it. But as far as McIntyre, you gotta admit, the dude's been looking and booked strong since WrestleMania. I mean, very few times has the guy been down on his back for more than 5 fucking seconds. The dude is rocking and kicking ass, and I'm loving this. Finally, a dude that was not forced. Finally, a dude that has the entire total package, that it factor. He can cut the promo. He looks fucking badass. He wrestles dynamically. He's the total fucking package. And they're actually booking him. Man, that's all we ever asked for. A champion that shows up. A champion that is actually a champion. Because he checks off all the boxes. I'm loving the booking of McIntyre. And by the way, I always wanted Bobby Lashley to get a real push. Not something weird like what he was doing with Rusev. Not fucking hanging around with fucking Leo Rush. In some bullshit fucking 60-second jobber matches. And trust me, I think jobber matches have a place in pro wrestling. I think they can elevate superstars. The problem with Lashley having one jobber match after another is WWE never knew where they were going with Lashley. They were just having him do jobber matches, and they didn't have a plan for him. That's going to become redundant and boring real quick, and that's what happened. But what I saw from Lashley last night in the closing segment, which we'll get to in a few minutes, man, there was that look, man, like he knows he can be badass. Lashley knows he should have been fighting Brock Lesnar, and here he is toying around with fucking mid-card championships. They should have booked Lashley badass from the day he got back to WWE. Instead, they booked him like a fucking clown, and now everybody treats him and looks at him as such. Moving on, Angel Garza then defeats Kevin Owens with the wing clipper in just over 4 minutes. Pretty damn big victory for Garza. Not sure what is happening, again, I said this earlier, with Owens and his booking, but looks like they have nothing for him. At least in terms of relevancy. I mean, Kevin Owens, they put in this weird Charlotte Flair women's #1 contenders match, Kevin Owens show segment at the top of the program, and then they have him lose within 4 minutes to Garza. I mean, this was Kevin Owens. I mean, wasn't this guy defeating fucking guys like Seth Rollins for championships and having big WrestleMania victories, and he was in the storyline with Chris Jericho, and he was rubbing shoulders with Triple H. I mean, Kevin Owens was involved in some huge shit. Hell in a Cell matches with Shane McMahon. And now he's he's being beaten 4 minutes to Angel Garza. It's like, what happened to Kevin Owens? Is something happening behind the scene? Does he have a little injury that he kind of has to say kind of stay under the radar? Like, he can still compete, but he needs to stay under the radar because he's nursing an injury? I don't know. But if you look at the booking of Kevin Owens recently, odd to me, man. This is a former champion and someone who's was a vital part of the show. He's been reduced to... not too long ago, guys, weren't they trying to really push him? Like, he was doing Stone Cold Stunners, and they were trying to really put him as like a mega star. And again, he's just losing in 4 minutes now. I just, people like BC Amplify, we don't forget that type of booking. It's amazing where he's come, or regressed to. Buddy Murphy and Austin Theory are up next, defeating Aleister Black and Humberto. The finish came at the 5-minute mark when Austin Theory pinned Humberto. Now, for me, winning or losing for Austin Theory isn't even the biggest issue. It's the fact that Theory's bland as fuck. Good wrestler, no doubt. So is Lance Storm. But again, I said this earlier, if you're as bland as cheap vanilla yogurt, it's going to be incredibly hard to captivate a professional wrestling audience. Of course we want great wrestling, but we need larger-than-life characters just as much, or at least wrestlers that jump off our screens. I need Theory to amplify his character. Now, on the plus side, post-match, Seth Rollins cut another straight-fire promo. Man, dude is on his game. Murphy and Theory had Humberto's face pushed up against the steel steps, and Seth Rollins is looking into the ring where Aleister Black is, and Rollins is just... It reminds me of old school fucking Rollins, man, when he was just running through the roster and gave zero fucks, and his promos were just as straight fire as his actions. That's the Rollins that I'm seeing, and I think this is some of his best work. I know the product and the enthusiasm and just the care for the business, more specifically WWE, is at an all-time low, but if you look at performance... And base your reaction on performance alone, I think we all can agree this is some of Rollins' best work. Hour number 3 kicks off with more Street Profit Viking Raider sideshow antics. First was basketball, then axe throwing, and this week they played golf. I tried, guys. I really tried to laugh, but the problem was I found none of it funny. They end up playing mini golf, and I'm thinking, what the fuck am I doing with my night? Is this seriously what it's come to? If you think I'm being too critical, check this out. Even the writers know my words are true. Backstage, MVP walked by the Street Profits, and MVP looks right at the Profits and says, and I quote, "Another case of wasted talent, because they'd rather play golf than act like real champions." MVP said that to the Street Profits. Another case of wasted talent because they'd rather play golf than act like real champions. This is what I've been preaching for weeks now. Same thing with the Iconics calling out the favorite blonde aspect for Alexa Bliss and throwing that dig earlier in the night. People get upset at BC Amplified and that I critique too much and I'm too hard on shit. But even the talent is regurgitating my words either directly or in an off roundabout way. But they're saying the same shit that I'm saying. I'm not shocked. I know for a fact that company, the superstars, the fucking writers, they know. They hear the words of the Amplified Man. They know it needs to be changed, what sucks and what might actually work. But the old man, when he gives a stamp of approval or disapproval, that's the final word. And even the writers have to step aside. But when you start to hear your frustrations and your words start to be aired out on the segment, in the promos, hey, that's what I've been saying. Then you know it validates everything I do on this channel. I tell ya. That set up a matchup later in the night. MVP and Lashley was the main event versus the Street Profits. Yeah, that's I waited 3 hours for the Street Profits and MVP and Lashley. But it was setting up something bigger for Lashley, of course, with Drew McIntyre. So, I mean, the finish didn't absolutely suck. We'll get to that in a minute. But up next was time to crown the #1 contender for Asuka's Raw title. Triple threat Charles, Nia, and Natty. Match makes zero fucking sense, but who really cares anymore, honestly? I mean, it seems to be like I'm the only one that fucking cares. You have Natty, who just lost twice in a row to Shayna Baszler, but her prize is to have a shot at the Women's Championship. So if you lose twice in a row to Baszler, the winner, Baszler, doesn't get the shot. No, Natty does. That makes complete fucking sense. I got you. And Charlotte Flair's the NXT champion. So now you have her stay on Raw and go for the Raw Championship too. That makes sense. Not. But we knew where this was going anyway. This was all just to have Nia Jax get the #1 contender spot and go to take on Asuka at Backlash. We knew that's where this was going anyway. But nobody cares but me, so I end up as the bad guy, right? Because I voice all these concerns and frustrations. I ask these questions, and everybody else goes, wow, you're mean, man. You take things way too serious. Sit back and relax and enjoy it, PC. And I'm like, guys, I want to. I just ask that you give me some common sense. How are you going to sell me that Baszler just won twice in a row, but she has to sit at home, and Natty, who lost twice in a row, gets this match? And Charlotte can hold multiple titles. It just doesn't make sense, bro. But I'm the bad guy, you know? Nobody cares but me. Now, whether you feel this match was good or not doesn't even matter. That's in the eye of the beholder. I'm just happy this match was actually entertaining. I thoroughly enjoyed Charlotte and Nia going to war because we all know Nia is a bully in that ring. She is rough with everyone she works with. That's well documented by other female talent. So we know she's stiff and rough in the ring. And we also know that Charlotte is easily aggravated in the ring and doesn't like to sell. So watching them go shot for shot was just fun. You could tell neither wanted to sell for the other, and it was awesome, man. You could tell they were getting aggravated with one another. Look at when Charlotte was like up on the second rope on the turnbuckle, and Nia just goes to push, like she pushes her. Like, any other normal talent, man, that's like maybe a little smaller than Charlotte or something, would have been just get ass over tea kettle over the top rope. Nia just pushes her ass. It wasn't even a punch. She just smacks her ass to push her off. Charlotte is strong, though, so Charlotte stayed on. Charlotte turns around and they just start punching each other. I fucking loved it. Oh, man. Just let two fucking brute stiffs just go at one another. Nia ends up winning this thing again, as we all knew was going to happen after pinning Natty, which we, again, knew Nia was going to win, but more importantly, we now know why Natty was in this match. To be the fall guy. It was to protect the golden child, Charlotte Flair, right? That's why this was a triple threat. You had to have Charlotte in the match, but they didn't want Charlotte to just lose to Nia. Let's put Natty in there. She's our residential loser. So that's what they did. They put Natty in this to take the fucking fall. Makes sense. Let me get a swig of coffee, guys. Hold on, please. It was about to get cold. I didn't want it to, gotta drink that shit when it's nice and hot. Now, throughout the day and during the course of the program, they were hyping up an appearance by the Nature Boy Ric Flair. At first, we're like, okay, no big deal. I mean, we love Rick. He's a legend, and it's always good to see him, but his appearance won't be of any significance. But the more they hyped it up, you start to think, maybe they will do something cool involving Rick. Maybe they have something interesting planned. And when it came time for Rick's big segment, it was literally to hype up the dumbass notion of the greatest wrestling match ever. Literally 90 seconds of Flair trying to sell us before the match even happens that it's going to be the greatest wrestling match ever. And I loved Edge and Orton at WrestleMania. Even when all these fans shitted on it, I wasn't afraid to stand the fuck up and say I loved the build to WrestleMania for Edge and Orton. I loved the match, the last man standing match, Edge and Orton at Mania. And I loved the continuation of the story into Backlash. And on top of that, Edge cut another phenomenal promo last night. But why tank this thing before it even happens? Why back yourselves into a corner for no reason? I have no doubt Edge and Orton is going to deliver at Backlash, but why call it the greatest wrestling match ever? You're just putting a moniker on this, a title on this, that there's no way they could possibly live up to that. But maybe this is just trolling the fans that bashed their last man standing match. Right? You have two dudes like Edge and Orton. They gave you everything they had during the story build-up. Everything. That was the best story going into WrestleMania, Edge and Orton. We all can agree on that. And then they gave you everything they had for 37 minutes. They beat the hell out of one another. Just for everybody to go online and go, this was long. This was boring. It shouldn't have been like that. It should have been more cinematic. And they were probably like, dude, we gave you everything for the past almost 3 months. And that's all you have to say? So maybe this is them saying no matter what we do at Backlash, we're gonna get bashed. We might as well just troll them before they control us. And you know what? At that point, fuck it. I'm down. I'm all for voicing our fucking displeasures, but you have to choose which hill you want to die on. You have to choose where to pick your battles. You bitch, moan, and complain about Edge and Orton being too long. That's really what you're complaining about? It's the boy that cried wolf. When you complain about everything, nothing will get accomplished. People will look at you literally just like a bitch-ass Braden. A bitch boy Braden. Oh, man. So anyway, where was I going through that? Oh, yeah, that was Ric Flair's big fucking... You hype up Ric Flair to sell this crazy notion that it's actually going to be the greatest wrestling match ever. Just unreal. Main event was Street Profits, who put away their golf clubs for this one, versus MVP and Bobby Lashley. Don't care about this match one fucking bit. I didn't. How could I? When you book your tag champs in basketball games, axe throwing competitions, golfing rounds, Monopoly, Battleship, Twister, and who the fuck knows what else. Oh, bowling next week, by the way. This is official. They just announced that Street Profits and Viking Raiders will have a bowling contest next week. Or what do you call it? Bowling competition? Bowling match? Who the fuck knows? Excuse me if I don't bowl. But now we have to watch our tag team champions bowl next week. But what I did enjoy is after Lashley was DQ'd, basically he got one of the Profits into, I believe it was Ford. He got into the full Nelson, and I just love that. I think that's what Bobby Lashley should be doing. Fuck the spear. Just put you're a badass big dude. Put somebody in that Nelson and pass him the fuck out. That's how he should be being booked. So I love that. He gets him in the full Nelson, and he doesn't want to break the hold, so the referee DQs him. I think that's a brilliant finish. You protect your tag team champions, and you make Bobby Lashley look like a fucking beast. Right? And Ford didn't pass out, right? These days to protect somebody, everyone needs to pass out. No. It's the ref, there's a 5 count that nobody utilizes anymore. 5 count, DQ. And I like that, you know. It protects Lashley, and he's going to have a title match with McIntyre, so you have to bump this dude up. And then McIntyre comes to the ring, and they just start fucking brawling, which I loved. And all the NXT prospects, 3 at a time, then 4 at a time, then a bunch of them just come into the ring to separate them. But Lashley and McIntyre are just going at one another, and it ends with them separated into the corner. I love that ending brawl. I didn't care for the main event, obviously, for reasons I already attested to. But the actual ending, the little brawl between Lashley and McIntyre, I like this, man. I do. And again, it's because I do want to see something more out of Lashley, and I'm hoping this propels him. No way, shape, or form should he be walking out with the championship. This is McIntyre's time, and I'm loving the booking of McIntyre. So these are positives, guys, coming out of Raw last night. McIntyre, it is clear as day, they are finally putting in the top spot of the company. I have been saying this for so long, and they're finally doing it. Man. When something happens that you just know is the right thing to have happen, it's a thing of beauty. Drew McIntyre finally getting his rightful place and being booked correctly. I love this. And the ending of Raw was actually fucking good. I wish the entire show was, but what can you do? I put myself through that depression for you guys. I hope you enjoyed this review as well. As you guys always say, the review is always more entertaining than the show. I can pretty much see why. I'm a little off my fucking rocker, especially when I've already had 3 coffees this morning. Much love to all you guys. A lot more content later in the week. For now, grab your coffees and kick the rest of your day. Think, be, live, amplify.